Hello everybody! Today I want to talk about Hugo nominations. The 2018 Hugo Awards nominations period ends on March 16th, and I am in full-on scramble mode to read all the things I want to read before I nominate. I'm not going to be able to read them all. But I thought that this year I should finally film a Hugo nominations recommendations video, which I've intended to do in previous years and just never quite got around to. But I have a list, things that I have read, many things that I'm considering that I'll have to narrow down, and then some things in a few of the categories that I haven't read yet but I'm really considering because I've heard they're quite good, and that might be helpful for you guys to know as well. I'm not going to get into like if you're eligible to nominate or not. At this point, you know if you are a Worldcon member, if you can nominate, if you can vote, and we've passed the deadline where you could buy a membership to get nominating rights, so sorry. This is by no means a comprehensive recommendations list. If you want more recommendations and if you're looking for more comprehensive lists of what's eligible, there's a Renee's spreadsheet of doom. File 770 has resources. There's a wiki out there somewhere, and there are a lot of recommendation posts from places like Nerds of a Feather. They do a 4-part series every year that I personally really find helpful, and that's what has informed a lot of my short fiction reading. So these are just some of my particular favorites and my commentary on some of the categories. First up, best novel. I have a lot of options in this one and a reading list that's even longer than the list of things I've already read and am considering. So on my list for this category are The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. I'll absolutely be nominating this one. Amberlow by Laura Elena Donnelly. Phantom Pains by Michelle Baker. I really feel like this series needs some more recognition. Seven Surrenders by Ada Palmer. The Will to Battle is also eligible because it was also published in 2017, but I have stronger feelings about Seven Surrenders. Amatka by Karen Tidbeck, which is translated into English by the author. And along the vein of translated works, I'll definitely be nominating Orbital Cloud by Taiyo Fuji. I don't really think this one has a chance of making it to the shortlist, but I loved it that much. I'm gonna use a spot on my ballot for it. Raven Stratagem by Yoon Lee, absolutely I'll be nominating that one. Six Wakes by Mur Lafferty, and New York 2140 by Kim Stanley Robinson, which I will be shocked if it doesn't make the shortlist. I think it's a real contender this year because, you know, Robinson and the fact that it's a really great book. Some other books from my reading list that I will hopefully read in the next couple of weeks are The Stone in the Skull by Elizabeth Bear, Luna Wolf Moon by Ian MacDonald, and The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, which I will be reading in March. In the novella category, my recommendations are The Black Tides of Heaven by J.Y. Yang. I haven't read the second one, The Red Threads of Fortune, but I think most people read The Black Tides of Heaven first. Passing Strange by Ellen Klages, which will definitely be on my ballot. Two of the Penric and Desdemona novellas by Louis McMaster Bujold are also on my list. I think there are 3 that qualify from 2017, but Mira's Last Dance and The Prisoner of Limnos are the 2 that came to my mind immediately. All Systems Red by Martha Wells. My love for this one is pretty well known, I think, and I think it was just nominated for the Nebula Award, so yay. And then there were none, or N-1, by Sara Pinsker from Uncanny magazine, will also be on my ballot. There is one novella that I would love to read, but I'm not sure how to get my hands on it, and that is Prime Meridian by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This has a kind of an interesting publication history. It was like crowdfunded and self-published in December 2017, and it's currently unavailable in between that campaign's rewards and being more traditionally published in 2018. I've heard a lot of people mentioning this as a nomination recommendation, and I'm really curious and frustrated that I don't have it right away. Last year, I had difficulty coming up with a full set of 5 nominations in the novelette category for some reason, but this year it's completely flipped for me. I have way more novelette recommendations and options than I do short stories. I'm scrambling to read a lot of short stories to find some good ones. So in novelette, Extracurricular Activities by Yoon Lee from Tor.com. I loved this. I'm gonna nominate it. A Series of Stakes by Vina, Jie-Min, Prasad from Clarkesworld. This one was just nominated in the Nebula Awards too, and I can see why. I loved it. The Worshipful Society of Glovers by Mary Robinette Kowal from Uncanny magazine. The Secret Life of Bots by Suzanne Palmer from Clarkesworld. Personally, I think this is more of a cute, feel-good story than a hard-hitting one, and maybe that's why I would nominate it. Some variety there. I personally really enjoyed Pan-Humanism, Hope and Pragmatics by Jess, Barber, and Sara Saab, which was published in Clarkesworld. I'm not sure how widespread the appeal of that one is. Remote Presence by Susan Palwick from Lightspeed, which is just a wonderful story. Neptune's Trident by Nina Allan from Clarkesworld, which I really enjoyed the style of. And Who Won the Battle of Arsia Mons by Sue Burke, also from Clarkesworld. In short story, I currently only have 4 options on my list. 3 of them are from Uncanny, and frankly, I don't feel super strongly about any of these, so my actual nominations may change considerably, but currently my list is With Cardamom I'll Bind Their Lips by Beth Cato, A Nest of Ghosts, A House of Birds by Kat Howard, and Sun, Moon, Dust by Ursula Vernon. Those are the 3 from Uncanny. And the 4th one is The Worldless by Indra Pramit Das from Lightspeed. And then there is the Best Series category, which was trialed in the 2017 Worldcon in Helsinki, and the San Jose 2018 Worldcon has opted to continue it this year. I'm not really clear on the criteria or the eligibility criteria for this category, so I mostly rely on the big massive list from File 770, and I just pull out the ones that I know I have read all the books of. So my list currently is The Broken Earth by N.K. Jemisin, though I believe she's asked people to not nominate this series, but to nominate The Stone Sky and Best Novel if they want to, just because the first 2 books in the series have already won Hugo Awards. The Vlad Taltos series by Stephen Bruce, which is one of those series where I wouldn't necessarily nominate individual books, but I think that the whole is better than the sum of its parts, and I think it deserves that recognition. The Carlara Vada series, or kind of that world, by Elizabeth Moon. Vada's piece isn't eligible yet, it hasn't hit the word count, but I think it's eligible if you nominate it as Carlara Vada. The Terra Ignota series by Ada Palmer, and The World of the Five Gods by Lois McMaster Bujold. There are also 3 series that I haven't read all of the books in, so I won't be nominating them, but I want to mention them because I know how loved they are. There's the Memoirs of Lady Trent series by Marie Brennan, The Indron and War by K.B. Wagers, and The Split Worlds by Emma Newman, and I believe that this will be the last year that these series are eligible because they've all been concluded and their final books were published in 2017. Then there is the Best Related Work category. I don't think I will nominate in this category this year, which is a reversal from last year. I just didn't read enough stuff that qualified. I have read No Time to Spare by Ursula Le Guin, which I expect will make it to the shortlist. You know, Le Guin passed away, and it's her last collection. But I didn't think it was one of her best collections, honestly. I don't think it's particularly award-worthy. There are 2 that I've heard mentioned for this category a lot. The first one is Ian M. Banks by Paul Kincaid, which is one of the modern Masters of Science Fiction works. I nominated the one for Octavia Butler last year, and I kept meaning to get my hands on the Ian M. Banks one, and I didn't. So I hope this one is nominated. It will give me an excuse to read it and buy it and read it. There's also Luminescent Threads, edited by Alexandra Pierce and Mimi Mondal, which I believe is a non-fiction collection about Octavia Butler, and that sounds really interesting. Moving on to graphic story, I am going to nominate Monstrous Volume 2, The Blood by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. Also, The Wicked and the Divine, Volume 5, Imperial Phase 1 by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey. I think I'll nominate Descender Volume 4, which is Orbital Mechanics by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wynn, though I think one of the issues in this trade volume was published in 2016. I frankly don't know how that affects its eligibility, but I'll probably throw it onto my ballot anyway, because I'll have space. There are 2 more that I know are eligible and I haven't read them yet. One is Paper Girls Volume 3 by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang. This one I am waiting for it from the library and hope I'll get it in time to judge for myself. And then there's Lazarus Volume 5 by Greg Rucka. I know I've loved this series and I'm always behind because I have to get the latest volumes from Interlibrary Loan. And then there are the two dramatic presentation categories, long form and short form. For long form, I'm going to nominate Stranger Things Season 2 and Wonder Woman, and I will be shocked if Star Wars The Last Jedi and Thor Ragnarok don't also make the shortlist. In short form, I know I'm going to nominate Season 2, Episode 13 of The Expanse, which is Caliban's War, and Season 1, Episode 7 of Star Trek Discovery. I can't remember the name of this episode, but I recently watched this and it was the only episode from the first season of Star Trek Discovery so far that I really got into. I really liked it. It felt more like classic Star Trek to me. I will also be watching the 5th and final season of Orphan Black before I nominate. There's usually at least one episode per season that I really, really love. And since this is the final season, I'm kind of thinking that maybe the series finale would be a good choice. Now, the editor categories, long form and short form. Long form is editors of books, short form is editors of short fiction. So long form is really difficult to find editors and to know that they're fully eligible. I believe they have to have edited 4 longer works in the year of eligibility, and tracking all that down is really difficult. So I kind of just find names and throw them on a ballot and pray that they're actually eligible. I'll let the administrators of the Hugo Awards figure that out. So for long form, my list includes Nava Wolf from Saga Press. She's edited books like Barbary Station, The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, and Phantom Pains, which I have read. Patrick Nielsen Hayden, I think he's a perennial favorite in this category. I know that he's edited the Terra Ignota series by Ada Palmer, and that's why I want to nominate him. Jonathan Oliver from Solaris, I believe, who edited Raven Stratagem by Yoon Ha Lee. And then Devi Pillai, who edited 6 Wakes. She's done a lot of Orbit stuff. I'm not sure if she's still with Orbit, but I nominated her last year and will do so again this year. I find it easier to nominate in the editor short form category because I do read a lot of short fiction magazines and it's really clear who edited those and how many of them they edited. So my list includes Lee Harris for his work with Tor.com Publishing, Neil Clark from Clarkesworld magazine, Jane Crowley and Kate Dollarhide from Strange Horizons are both eligible. I am not sure which one I'll nominate, but probably one or the other to fill out my ballot. I haven't read all of Strange Horizons' work from 2017, but I have read some of it and it was really great. Lynn M. Thomas and Michael Damian Thomas from Uncanny, whom I plan to nominate as a team because they were on the shortlist as a team last year. And then I have Jonathan Strawn for his editing of Passing Strange by Ellen Klages, and also for his work with his Infinity Project anthologies, which came to a conclusion this year. I haven't read all of them, but they've been pretty uniformly critically praised, I guess, and I think he deserves to be nominated for that. Now on to professional artist. I actually have a full list here and some are new to me a bit. Kathleen Jennings, she's done some cover art for Small Beer Press publications. I also have really enjoyed the episode artwork she did for Tremontaine seasons 1 and 2 from Serial Box. I think season 2 might be eligible. I can't remember. Maybe that was 2016. Anyway, I'm pretty sure she's eligible in professional artist category, and I love her style of like paper cutout silhouette art. It's really different. Victo Nye, she did the cover of Amberlow, which I absolutely loved, and I'm pretty sure she's done more artwork for Tor.com's short fiction. I nominate her every year because I adore her artwork. Fiona Staples from Saga, Galen Dara, another favorite in this category. I'm pretty sure she's done Uncanny and Lightspeed covers that I've really liked. And then Kirby Fagan, who did an Uncanny magazine cover that I thought was beautiful, and she has a really fantastic portfolio site that I was really excited by, so I'm gonna nominate her too. Moving on to semi-prozine, I'm not doing these in any particular order, am I? I'm going to nominate Fireside Fiction, Uncanny Magazine, and Strange Horizons. I've either read them regularly or read some really great stories from those venues. So this category, I think if you're looking for ideas is there is a semi-prozine directory that I think Neil Clark keeps up to date, and you can be pretty sure that things listed there are actually semi-prozine rather than professional magazines. I have no idea what the criteria is there, but that is where I go to figure this one out. And then there is the fan cast category, which is usually podcasts, but in case you didn't know, BookTube SFF channels are also eligible. I believe the criteria is that whatever the fan cast is, it has to have at least 4 episodes, one of which was published in the qualifying year, in this case 2017. So I always nominate Tea and Jeopardy and the Coode Street podcast because I listen to them religiously and I absolutely love them. I'm probably also going to nominate some BookTube SFF people like Thomas from SFF 180 and Elizabeth from Books and Pieces. I think that'll leave me with 1 spot remaining on my ballot, so I will figure out something there. And then there is the fanzine category, and I only have 1 nominee here. I'm going to nominate sfintranslation.com because I followed that a lot in 2017 and it was really useful. I'm also going to nominate Rachel Cordasco from sfintranslation.com in the fan writer category. I don't follow a lot of fan writers. I've tried to in the past and I'm not good at following fan writers, so that's my only nominee for that one. Fan artist is another category that I don't follow very closely and I don't have a lot of recommendations for. It's really difficult to figure out who's professional versus who's a fan artist. It has something to do with how much money they make from their profession, and that's kind of self-reported, you know. I'll probably nominate Lickhane in this category. I did last year as well. I think she's pretty well known and I like her art style as well. And Stephanie Law, who I came across from somebody else's recommendation list, and I loved her portfolio site. I thought her style was really amazing. So other than that, I'm a bit lost in the world of fan art. And then there are 2 more award categories. These are actually not Hugo Awards, but they're administered by the Hugo Awards or by Worldcon. The first one is the Campbell Award for Best New Writer. This is another one where it can be a bit difficult to figure out who's eligible because people are only eligible in their 1st and 2nd years of being professionally published, whether that's a short story they had published or a book published, that sort of thing. So I think once again there's a database somewhere that tracks who's eligible and in what year of eligibility they are. This year I already kind of came up with my own list. I have Nikki Drayden for The Prey of Gods, Sarah Gailey, River of Teeth and some of her short fiction, and KB Wagers. I think Gailey and Wagers are both in their 2nd year of eligibility, so if they don't win this time then they won't be eligible again. I also have Rivers Solomon on my list. I haven't read An Unkindness of Ghosts yet, but it's really high up there on my TBR, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this name on the shortlist as well. And then there is the Young Adult Award. I forget if this one has been officially named or not, but once again, it's not a Hugo Award, it's just being administered along with them. I don't think I've actually read anything that qualifies for this category or that I feel is nomination worthy. The one possibility is The Dark Days Pact by Alison Goodman. I don't know if this is considered to be young adult though. It might just fall into the adult fantasy category, but I loved it and I might throw it onto my ballot just in case. But I do want to mention 4 other books that I haven't read but which I wish that I had, I think are contenders here. There's Jane Unlimited by Kristen Cashore, which I really regret not reading last year in time for this. Akata Warrior by Nnedi Okorafor, In Other Lands by Sarah Reese Brennan, which I've seen a lot of acclaim for, and The Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage by Philip Pullman, another one which I actually got from the library and started reading, and then I had to take it back because there were holds on it. I just didn't finish it. Oops. So that is it, my massively long list of recommendations and reading suggestions for myself for the 2018 Hugo Awards. I will be back to talk about the Hugo Awards again when the shortlist is announced, which will probably be, I think, in the last week of March. It's coming up really fast, so I'll probably do a live show or something in April to go over the shortlist. I did that last year with a couple of people, and it was so much fun. It was also a really fantastic shortlist, which helps, but I would love to do that again. So with that, happy nominating, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.